Have a letter admitted into the record, please.
You ask unanimous consent?
I do.
Without objection, so ordered.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Wolf, is Texas a sanctuary state?
Not to my knowledge, no.
Do you know of any sanctuary cities within Texas?
I don't.
Crazy Austin could be, but we're not sure.
Austin or portions of Houston, but not to my knowledge.
And similarly, Mr. Hamilton, are each of the cities that Mr. Jackson described as Democrat-run cities, are each and every one of them sanctuary cities and have declared so?
I believe that's correct, sir. And in fact, they have also said that they welcome immigrants and that they should not be deported and they want them in their communities.
So let's kind of go through the numbers here. We have several million people who have come over the border. I have 55 miles of the border. It includes some very dangerous areas to cross, desert and so on, and yet we have thousands and thousands coming every month. They come into San Diego. Now, California is a sanctuary state, so the entire state is welcoming to them. And yet, more than 80% of them, when asked, will tell you where they're going, and it's not California. They are, in fact, going to Miami and other locations. So if the fact is that they generally have family or relatives, they know roughly where they're going, realistically, is there anything wrong with sanctuary cities and sanctuary states being expected to take substantially all of these people that they've said are welcome, and the non-sanctuary states having a reasonable right to be less welcoming?
What I would tell you is that the situation along the border, it defies reality to the extent in the numbers that you're seeing that places like
in my area, they know it's reality.
Yeah.
My Hispanic community that live along the border are absolutely beyond belief. They just don't know what else to do because it represents people they would love to help, but there's just too many of them.
And so the busing situation, it's a necessity. It's a necessity from those along the border. There is no more capacity. And so when you talk about New York City, who's got a population of 9 million, and yes, they have to now, address an illegal alien population, what about communities in South Texas of 15,000, 20,000? When they get 15,000 illegal migrants, almost a week in some instances. And so the busing, at least in my view, again, I'm not talking to Governor Abbott and others, it's a necessity because of a capacity issue, because of the overwhelming numbers that are coming across.
Now, you contrasted earlier the difference between the previous administration and this administration in the sheer numbers with no explanation of an event that would have changed it other than a change in policy. Is that a fair assessment?
I think it's a change in a number of policies.
Okay, a
Right.
change in a number of policies. So suffice to say that if we, all of us, all three of you, say that we are bringing in more people in a way that is not helpful and more than what Congress has authorized, which is about 1.4 million a year, if that's not the case, then by any stretch of the imagination, shouldn't we, and this is the Foreign Affairs Committee, shouldn't we in fact be working with other countries to either hold these individuals so they can be more orderly brought in if appropriate, or in fact be part of helping discourage their immigration? And isn't that really what's absent right now, is any kind of discouragement?
Well, we certainly talked earlier about it's a shared responsibility. It's not just a U.S. responsibility, Mexico, Central America, and South America, and others. So yes, I would certainly agree that I would say that our partners need to do more, but they need to see that the U.S. is doing more, and they don't currently see that.
Well, now, let me just ask one question, and all of you can answer this because I think it's known by all of you. Isn't it true that international law, if you want to claim refugee status or asylum, in fact, requires that you make it at the first safe location after leaving the country or the region, and that, in fact, with the exception of Mexico and Canada, virtually all of the people coming to our shores have, in fact, passed through intervening countries without making application?
It's a well-established practice that you need to seek safety in the closest third country, as you can to your home country. This idea that you're going to forum shop, that you're going to transit 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 different safe countries because you prefer the United States, not because you need protection from persecution or something else. If that's truly the case, you're going to seek safety in the closest place imaginable.
I prefer first class, but I sit in coach because that's the seat that I purchased. Mr. Chairman, there's no question at all that you've done a good job today with witnesses of establishing that this is a policy decision that could be reversed, should be reversed, and that the President is ultimately responsible for a policy that has led America, including our major cities, in turmoil. I thank you for holding this hearing and yield back.
And I think the chairman to chairman, I